It's Dani Alves' sixth season at Barcelona, his 12th in La Liga. Brazilian, aged 30, is honest and straightforward, as he proves on the field of play. He's brave and doesn't avoid any questions. Alves has analysed the team's current situation and spoke to us about Spanish football's great Clásico. Claret Blues aren't going through the best of times in many aspects. The problems within the board of directors, their drop from the top of the table, and the debate regarding their play have all dented the fans' morale. But Alves isolates himself from it all. He puts it all to one side and focuses on thinking about football.
La verdad es que veo bastante bien desde el punto de vista de trabajo, desde el punto de vista de...
The truth is that it looks good to me from a work point of view, from a football point of view, from the perspective of our day-to-day. For me, the team is looking very good, working like never before. It's clear that our surroundings, because of everything that's happened and everything that's been generated, it's all created some kind of uncertainty. And what we have to do is isolate ourselves from that. Otherwise, we'd be on tenterhooks. We've been in this for a long time now. We know exactly how everything works. We know about the existing interests, and none of this can affect our day-to-day work.
No entre dentro de lo que es el trabajo, no entre dentro de lo que es nuestro día a día, que es lo que tratamos de hacer. Pero si te digo que las críticas hacen bien a uno.
Criticism is always useful, as long as it's impartial, as long as it's related to your work. When the criticism is personal and aimed at how you live your life, when they affect your philosophy of life, then it's upsetting. But I don't give it importance, because I consider myself to be above all this that surrounds my life. If things go well, you have to live one way, and if they go badly, you have to live it in another way. I believe that you have to live life regardless of how others see it, regardless of their opinions of you, because that varies depending on the result. Because I have an idea of life, I live it regardless of any opinion. Obviously, this will be to the liking of some and not so much to others, but I'm not here to please everyone. I'm here to live in the right way. At my job, I work harder than anyone. I'm always thinking about what's best for the team, and never for myself. I only think about myself when I leave work. Then I start living my life like I think I should. Happy, glad and cheerful. In the end, when you put those two things together, you reap the rewards. I can't complain about how things are going for me in football, but obviously there are different opinions, and I respect all of them.
Hay diversidades de opiniones, pero yo las respeto todo.
Throughout its history, everything at Barca has been questioned. That's what makes it such a special club. This season, debates regarding the team's play have been the order of the day, sparking constant comparisons with the Guardiola era.
When you win everything, when you make it to the pinnacle of your profession, when you make it to a place where there's no more room for improvement, there are always comparisons from the past with the present. That is what football generates. It's what causes debate. It's what the world of sport lives off. It's clear that sometimes people step over the line, but that's football, and whoever isn't ready to bear with it has chosen the wrong profession. That's the way it works. They're always going to compare, but I always look back. People have short memories, but I don't. 5 years ago, this team didn't win anything. It always made it to the final hurdle, but never won a thing. Now it's opting for 3 titles, and things aren't going well. These are things I can't understand. There are certain opinions and debates that I can't get my head around. It's clear that there are different teams. One manager walks out the door and another one comes in. But the idea is still the same, our work is still the same. But football evolves, and we haven't got anything left to prove. This team has reached the maximum, and what we're trying to do is make it back to the summit of the titles, and I think we're on the right path. Evaluations aren't made at the beginning or halfway through. You make your evaluations at the end. When you look back, when you see the titles that have been won and those that haven't, that's the way it works. Fortunately in football, people only remember winners, and we've got quite a few of those here.
Another winner back in Argentina is the current Barcelona coach Gerardo Martino. The debate regarding the team's play and the rotations have also affected the manager, and his methods have been compared to Pep Guardiola's.
Yo pienso que es bastante parecido a Pep. Es un enfermo del fútbol también, que le duele muchísimo cuando pierde. Vive en función del fútbol, vive en función de...
I think he's quite similar to Pep. He's crazy about football. He's deeply hurt when we lose. He lives depending on football, depending on trying to improve the team, trying to show us where we're making mistakes, trying to see where we can do something better. They're people that live for football. But comparisons are inevitable, because he's taken the place of a manager who achieved everything here. And that's the negative weapon for the person coming in. Because the one that left at the top. So he's going to try and repeat the feat. And if you don't achieve it, you're worse or very bad in the eyes of the fans, in the eyes of the media. People always look at the end product, but for me, the post-end product is important, because the work carried out previously is what's going to enable you to achieve things. And I think we do that perfectly. We come here every day and we work like dogs. In the end, we're aiming for our objectives, not here to mess about. We're here to win and to be remembered as winners. Each person lives their life how they want. Some are calmer than others. Some live one way, others in another. But in our profession, we try to make sure people are pleased with our work. But I'll say it again. Those that aren't prepared have picked the wrong profession. That's the way it is. If you falter when you're criticized or when people have an opinion of you, no, you're there to generate opinions, negative and positive. That's how I see life. That's how I take on life. I carry out a job where I'm going to generate opinions. Some will like it more and others less. But I assure you that everyone would want me in their team. If you do a study of what you want for your team, a player that wins, that works like no one else, I think I've references to play in any team. I'm here until people want me to be. I make it to the limit. But if the moment comes that the negative opinions outweigh the positives, that will be the moment to leave, and I'm always prepared for every moment.
Llego hasta el límite, pero sí llega un momento que las opiniones negativas son superiores a las positivas, ese momento no está. Y yo siempre estoy preparado para todos los momentos.
Alves' contract at Barca runs out on the 30th of June 2015. And from his comments, you could come to the conclusion that he's thinking about leaving the club. For the time being, he says his idea is to honour his contract.
Yo me veo hasta cumplir mi contrato aquí, porque yo pienso que yo cuando
I see myself completing my contract here. When I sign something, it's with the idea of honouring it, on both sides. But if one of the parties isn't happy, there's no reason to go on. All I try to do is make sure both parties are pleased. But I'm always going to try. My work, if you look for references, are extremely positive. If it depended on working, I would hang my boots up here.
Van a ser súper positivos. Si es por trabajo, estoy seguro que yo colgaría la bota aquí.
His work is exemplary. Beyond the possible criticism aimed towards his joy or his way of understanding life, Alves is an athlete that runs his socks off in every game. Still, the most common criticism of the Brazilian is to do with his crossing.
I'm
going to tell you something about those people who say that sometimes I don't cross the ball well. We don't have a team that heads the ball. When you're going to cross the ball in this team, you can't put it in the box. You have to find perfection to make the header easier for your teammates. I'll give you an example. At Sevilla, I would put the ball in the box and they would get onto the end of the cross because they had that type of player. Here it's different. You have to put in a perfect cross for them to get on the end of it. Sometimes achieving perfection, be it as a result of being off balance, a poor strike, an attempt at putting in the perfect cross, doesn't come off. But there are two kinds of player, one who doesn't cross again and another that crosses 20 more times badly, but still crosses 20 times. That's me.
And he's also the player who's on the same wavelength as Leo Messi. When both coincide on Barca's right flank, their connection is evident.
Son perfiles de jugadores. Yo pienso que la gran virtud de un gran jugador es saber la característica del compañero.
The great virtue of a great player is knowing the characteristics of a teammate. What you can do with one or with another. With Leo, I feel extremely identified. With him, I do things one way. But with other teammates, I have to adapt. And they have to adapt to me. It's as easy as adapting to who you have next to you.
Yo pienso que eso es la gran virtud. Entonces es adaptar al compañero que tú tienes al lado. Es tan sencillo como es. Este hombre hace lo que...
This man does what every player that has marked a decade has done. He makes the rest of football, the rest of the fans, the people who understand football, fall in love with his magic. It's what he does. It's unique. He came here to mark a decade, and there will be opinions for everything. But people who see him up close know that he's supernatural. He does what he wants, when he wants, and with whoever he wants.
Sobrenatural el jugador. Que hace lo que él quiera cuando él quiera. Con quien quiera.
And that's the magic of football. It's so great bringing through such brilliant players. And Leo is the best.
Brillante. Y yo pienso que Leo es el que encabeza a esta década.
This season, Barcelona have strengthened their squad with his compatriot Neymar. Alves is delighted to share the dressing room with a top-level player who seems to have adapted well to the team's dynamics.
Mira, yo pienso que se ha adaptado más rápido de lo que la
I
gente
think he's
esperaba.
adapted quicker than people expected.
Yo se lo he dicho.
Because I always say it, not only is he a great player, but a great kid. And here at Barca, great kids are always welcome, and they're always helped to integrate and adapt. Barca's made up of great kids, and when someone with his profile arrives, people welcome him, and when he's welcomed, his adaptation is easier. It's obvious that he has to understand where he is. Here, the demands are much greater than in Brazil. He knows that because I make sure to tell him every day that the demands here are very high. You always have to do a little bit more to become part of the best club and to become one of the best players at the club.
Muy de alto nivel, que hay que hacer siempre un poquito más para llegar a ser uno de los mejores jugadores de este club.
For now, it's Neymar's first season, and he's already lived the excitement of a Clásico firsthand. Alves is already an expert in this area. This will be his 12th League Clásico, the 20th in all competitions. Barca versus Real Madrid gets him going. He likes the clash and ups his game.
Un clásico es el mejor partido que uno puede jugar.
A Clásico is the best game you can play apart from a final. As a player, if you really like football, it's the desired game. When you start to play football, when football becomes your profession, when you become a professional athlete, the Clásico's the best thing there is, and we're craving to play it. When there were 4 or 5 Clásicos, I was happy and delighted, because the game I most liked playing was going to take place 4 or 5 times on the trot.
Encantado porque el partido que más me gusta jugar se iban a repetir 4 o 5 veces.
Alves is a player that enjoys being under pressure. He knows what wearing the claret and blue shirt in Spanish football's Clásico represents.
Yo pienso que esta es la grandeza de nuestra profesión.
This is the great thing about our job. We do what we love because there are people that love our job more than we do. And that's what makes us carry it out with so much affection and dedication. We know that everyone is watching us. You have to play the game of your life because there are loads of people expecting you to have the game of your life. So that's where you draw your concentration from, knowing there are loads of people behind you expecting you to bring out your best version in this game.
His debut in a Clásico away from home couldn't have gone better. His arrival at Barca in the 2008-09 season coincided with Guardiola's team getting their hands on all 6 titles. And the game at the Santiago Bernabéu that season went down in history, finishing 6-2.
That 6-2 win is historic for the general public, but for us, it gave us 3 points, just like winning 1-0.
It's
for the fans, basically, for them to boast about winning 6-2 at the Bernabeu. For me, it was 3 points. I'm one of those who doesn't read too much into a league table or qualifying for the next round of a tournament. What matters to me are titles. The titles I can get my hands on, the medals around my neck, and the cups and replicas I have at home. The rest doesn't mean much to me.
Alves' defensive duties have included facing the best attackers in the world. In the Clásicos alone, he has squared off with the current holder of the Golden Ball, Cristiano Ronaldo. And it's possible that at some stage of the game, Gareth Bale will appear on his wing. When bringing out the best of himself and defending these men, the word fear doesn't exist in the Brazilian's dictionary.
For me, it's what motivates me, competing against the best, not competing against someone inferior. What motivates me in my profession is when I face the best players, because I prepare very well to take on the best. If I didn't want to face the best, I wouldn't be at Barcelona. I'd be playing for my local team, because there I wouldn't come up against anybody. I love taking on the best. It's what motivates me about my profession.
Every player dreams about taking part in a Clásico. Scoring a goal in one of them is the icing on the cake and a memory for life. Alves knows what it feels like to celebrate a goal against a great enemy. He did so in a cup game, scoring a peach of a goal.
I was very pleased with the great goal I scored, not because of the rival. I'll say it again, for the people, it's good to boast about scoring a fantastic goal against Real Madrid. But I think I was pleased because I struck a complicated ball, I hit it well, and put it in the top corner. That's what made me happy, and after that, I was able to have a little dance with Abidal that we'd been preparing for an entire week, just in case I scored in the game. And look, I scored against Real Madrid, and in the end I was happy, because I was able to share that moment with him.
Dani Alves, an athlete that only knows how to give his all, who lives with intensity each day to the rhythm marked by his life.